Um, and before that, it is the asset for the country and people. It is the asset for the person who has invented. So that is the core idea of intellectual property and patent. So essentially, intellectual property is patent is a part of intellectual property. But since our interest was more into patent, that's why I have put patent separately also. Okay. So, what is that I'm going to cover is not like hard and fast that I'm going to cover this syllabus. Um, Depending upon your interest, I will try to
बढ़िया
do
इधर
this
ही
presentation. I think someone is not on mute. I am listening some background noise. It will be good if you can go on mute. So the first question, what is intellectual property? So these definition, like what is intellectual property and what all can be protected globally as well as in India. So there is a small difference from one country to other country, but largely it is the same. Um, this particular definition I have taken from WIPO, that is World Intellectual Property Office, and they have defined. So we can assume that this particular definition is a global definition. For more detail, you can visit that website. I have just written at the bottom. So intellectual property refers to creation of the mind. So that is the first thing. It's creation of the mind. So the example is such as inventions, literary and artistic works, designs, and symbols. Name and images used in okay. So these are the you can say thing that is part of intellectual property. So now you can think also anything that is goes beyond this is not part of intellectual property. What is not intellectual property in terms of patent, we will look in details, but for others, we will not go in details. So IP is protected in law. So essentially government, they have come up this idea that if someone is having some IP, it is intellectual property of the person. It should be protected by the law. And in order to protect them, they have given these three category, you can say. One is patent, the second one is copyright, and the third one is trademark. So you can understand that the example that is actually given, the first one was inventions. It is basically part of the it is protected through patents. Literary and artistic works, they are, and also the designs, they are actually protected through copyright. Symbols, name, and images, they are part of the trademarks. So that is actually protected through trademarks. So that's how this intellectual property is defined, categorized into three buckets, and for each bucket they have got separate rules. So what is a trademark? Again, these definitions are taken from WIPO. You can just go to that website and look at it. Trademark is a design capable of distinguishing the goods or services of one enterprise from those of other enterprise. So basically, these are signs. Okay, it may be any shape or size and things like that, but it's basically a sign that is for some enterprise, which is for good. These are protected by law. So as I said, and rights to protect trademark. Now, what is copyright? The copyright or author's right is a legal term used to describe the rights that creators have over their literary, that is first, and artistic, that is second, work. So basically, all literary and artistic works are can be copyrighted. So that covers by copyright range from, say for example, books, music, painting, sculpture, films, um, computer programs. So now we need to differentiate this. Computer programs can be copyrighted they cannot be patented. So we will see there when we come to patent, we'll see that computer programs cannot be patented, whereas they can be copyrighted. So if you have written very nice code, we can protect through copyright. Databases, advertisements, maps, and technical drawings. So all drawings like some plan of the city and house and things like that, they can be copyrighted. Database we create, this also can be copyrighted. So for IT people, computer programs and databases, they can be copyrighted. Okay. Now, any question or any point, or we are going to have question at the end?
We'll have at the end. Let us first go through the
Okay, so
complete.
yes, so just keep noting the question, or you can just put in the chat box. Um, so then the third component through which our intellectual properties are protected is the patent. So basically now we are going to talk about the patent only from this point onwards. So what is patent? Patent is an exclusive right granted for an invention. So invention is a key here. So essentially, we need to understand what is an invention so that we'll understand. So basically, it says patent is granted for an invention, which is a product or a process. So invention is either a product or a process. So what is that product and process? That provides, in general, a new way of doing something. So new way is something very important here. If it is not new, it's not invention, and therefore it cannot be patented. Um, it offers a new technical solution to a problem. So there was a solution, but we have come up with a new solution. So maybe we are interested into this part of the this aspect of the patent. Like we always create some new technical solution. To get a patent, technical information about the invention must be disclosed to the public. Okay, so this is something very very important. Um, and basically our effort goes into this part to disclose, and proper disclosure and right disclosure and things like that becomes very important for granting a patent in a patent application. So there is a format for how to apply for a patent. So in that particular format, we have to disclose the invention in public. Okay. So this is a patent. I'll just again reiterate the same thing. Patent is an exclusive right granted for an invention. Okay. What is invention? Invention is either a product or a process. Okay. And that is a new way of doing something or offers a new technical solution to a problem. So in order to get granted, technical information about the invention must be disclosed to the public. Okay, in a patent application. So that patent application is actually called patent. So now I'm coming to up till this point, these definitions were a global definition taken from WIPO. After that, since we are from India, so we'll go to India and then we'll talk up with respect to India. One more kind of a small disclaimer here. I am not an IP specialist. Okay. Meaning I don't have any degree in legal matters and things like that. What I have is about 10 years of experience in filing patents. So I myself have drafted more than a dozen patents. So that's how I learned many things from the patent attorneys and those IP experts. So basically, in India or any other country, the acts and rules keep on changing. Many of the things that actually were applicable in 2010 are not applicable in 2020 because we have changed in the act and rules. So it is kind of keeps on evolving. So we have to basically take help from the current rules and acts, whatever is there, and we have to follow that. So that is the thing. Um, so whatever I understand and whatever I know, I will try to share. But nevertheless, it does not guarantee anything in the sense whatever I've shared here, you follow this and say tomorrow that I attended your presentation and this is not working. So I do not give any of such a guarantee in this particular presentation or through whatever information I'm sharing. This is all taken from WIPO or Indian Patent Office. So it may change that information. So please go to the website and check it there and use that. Okay. I'm just trying to let you understand what all is there so that you can take your decision whenever it's required. So in India, we have a territorial jurisdiction of patent offices. So one in Mumbai, the other one is in Chennai, and then third one is in New Delhi, and the fourth one is in Kolkata. So we have four different offices from Government of India for patent. Um, and we can file in any office. Like some of the patent we have filed in Delhi, and some most of them in Mumbai, because Mumbai is closer for us, so it's easier. So for patent especially, there are two things that we need to respect, in the sense whenever we want to disclose something or to judge whether it is a patentable invention or not, patentable idea or not. So that is actually governed by two things. One is the Patent Act, which is called the Patent Act 1970, and there are patent rules. So rules are mostly in terms of how to draft a patent, how to disclose and technical details. Okay, so you have to follow that rule. If you do not follow, then there may be a rejection. So you file something, then they reject it because it's not following certain standards that they set. Okay, so then it becomes very important. So basically, these are legal languages. We do not understand these languages and their implications. So as a result, for filing a patent, we file through patent attorneys. So these are the people who has got legal degrees into these matters. They understand those languages and their implications, and they understand our technical details and then rephrase into those languages so that it gets granted without much issues. So in India, when we start this activity? So it actually started in 1856. So it was called Act 6 of 1856 on protection of invention based on the British Patent Law of 1852. So essentially, British and Netherlands, these are the countries they were practicing patent before other people. Um, and since British were in India at that point of the time, so they started in 1856, and obviously they had already this patenting, the patent law of 1852 that was being practiced in British. So they use the same thing in India. So for that, they have given certain exclusive privileges to inventors of new manufacturers for a period of 14 years. So that was the first thing they have given. So that time they have given this particular right to the manufacturers. So it is like someone was manufacturing something and you cannot copy it like that only. It was not like individual, and those details were not there at the time. But from 1856 till today, we have a lot of amendments in the acts. Right now, what we are filing is 1970 Act. So I've given the link for the Patent Act and then Patent Rule. You can go there and look at it. Uh, the second thing that, as I said, is called the patent rule. So it is the rule it's basically the language through which we have to disclose our technical details of the invention. So this is that book. I have given the link. You can visit there. And most of the thing, if you just Google, you will find. So it's not that difficult to find them. And where whatever is this ipindia.nic.in is the website for all these information. So you can visit that ipindia.nic.in. That is our government website for patent, trademark, and copyright. So now we are coming to the crux of the matter, meaning um, what is the criteria for patentability in our jurisdiction? So remember, this particular criteria is only for India. not for other countries. They may have some other conditions. So for India, we have to fulfill these three criteria. These are the must. If they one of them do not meet, we cannot file a patent. It will get rejected. The first one is the novelty or the uniqueness. So whatever solution we have, it need to be novel or unique in itself. And the second one is non-obviousness. So this is the second criteria. I will go into the details of this. And the third one is industrial application. So it is very, very interesting and important criteria. Meaning, uh, someone has done something for fun and you want to patent it. I think it is not allowed because there is no industrial application. So what is novelty? Let me go to the details of this. What is novelty? So novelty, there must not be a previous claim for it anywhere in India. So this is the first requirement of novelty. It shall be unique in a way different from prior art. So what is prior art? Prior art is written below in the bold, like anything which is already known orally, writing, or through use. Anything which is already known, existing in any form, that becomes prior art. So if someone gives a proof that whatever you are saying is novelty is there written on somewhere, okay, then that will be considered as a prior art, and that
Using the Biosavart law, we can find the magnetic field intensity or the magnetic flux density in simple problem, in simple application. But by using the Ampere circuit law, we can.
hello. I think so. Hello? I was hearing some background noise.
Yeah, you can continue now, Dilshad bhai. I think there was some person who was unmuted.
Okay, okay. So yes, so talking about the prior art, huh? So this is one important aspect that is actually attached to novelty. So many times the onus is on us to find the prior art. Whoever has done invention, he should actually try to find out whether there is something similar existing in some form. So you can understand writing, maybe some website, some article, some published literature, are published papers and things like that. So anything in that format will be considered as a prior art. So this is something we have to do. So the thing is, if we do not do, for example, and maybe we can convince our attorney also, but tomorrow these people, our patent office people, they will do the search and then will find it. So what happens, like we lose our patenting fees and things like that and all the effort that we put. So then it's not a good idea. Better is to do the prior art search and thorough prior art search, so that many times what happens, like there are some similarity somewhere. So it so happens like whatever we do, it's not like we are doing anything which is very, very unique, like some E is equal to MC square, some formula and things like that. Whatever you do in some form, some way, there is someone else in the world is doing. Okay. So if we understand properly, if there is some similar work, then we can actually differentiate while writing. So that becomes very strong actually. Then we don't lose later on. So we can those part we can cut short, and then we take some detour and something in disclosing things, and then finally it gets granted. So that prior art search is very important. An invention is a novel if prior to the date of filing, the invention was not in existence, either orally, writing, or through use. So then this prior to the date of filing. So as I said, this prior art plus this date is important. Suppose you have done something today, and somebody has done same thing tomorrow, and if you file this particular thing today, you will get priority date, and your thing will not be rejected, because along with the content they will also try to look at the date. Okay, so anything comes into future is not going to affect your invention. Anything which is present in the past is going to. So that's why this notion is there. Whenever you have some idea, you try to patent as early as possible, because there is a good chance someone else in a very similar situation may think similar to what you are thinking, and then he will patent that idea, and then your patent will get rejected. So this is the novelty and uniqueness aspect of it. So for the novelty and uniqueness, prior art is one thing, and then date is the another important thing. So non-obviousness. What is non-obvious? It must not be predictable to the society. So basically, what it says, like if you say something is innovative, but someone from the some common person, he just says, "Oh, I know this. It can be done." Then this is not non-obvious. Non-obvious is something known techniques used to create ideas, give out, predict the results. So, so basically, any person having knowledge or any technique, okay, which is already there, if you use that and you generate the same result, then it is basically it's termed as an obvious thing. So that's how this in legal terminology, what is obvious, what is non-obvious is actually technically defined. So any person who is expert in the art, who knows those things, he should not be able to guess your result, whatever result you are producing. He should not be. If he can guess the result, then it becomes obvious. So people the art who are expert in the field, they should not be easily guess the result. Okay, so essentially you are doing something which is beyond obvious. So that becomes your non-obviousness criteria, and if that is also meeting, so you have two criteria met. Now the third criteria is industrial application. This is little simpler in the sense, many times we do things which can be converted into some business or something. You can always write that this can be used for some business. So whenever you say that is something having some business aspect, this will become your industrial application, and then it will pass the test, it will be accepted, and then you will be granted the patent. So okay, so one more thing, just put in the bold, grant of the patent is not for illegal and immoral purposes. So for example, you may have some industrial application, but from the government, the laws of the government are in the constitution, it is not legal. So then that is respected. Even if it is industrial, it is passing all three criteria. If it is termed as illegal or immoral, then it will not be granted. Okay, so this is on top of all three things. It has to meet that criteria. So this is for India. I think in the beginning someone was saying, I have some idea I can patent. So you have got this understanding that in India we cannot patent any idea. Okay, so in order to patent an idea, it has to pass these three criteria. So even if it is an idea, if it passes these three criteria, you can patent. And if it is anything else, and it is not passing these criteria, you cannot patent in India. Just one additional information, under European Patent Convention, patents are granted only for ideas that are new. So essentially they are granting patent to the ideas, but for new ideas. And those ideas which involve in an inventive step and capable of industrial application. Okay, so here we have to actually give an example. In Indian case, we have to give an example like how it is. In their case, it is if you are having idea and you just say it has got some industrial application, and then probably you can go through. In India, the inventions must relate to some machinery, article or substance produced by manufacturing or substances for manufacturing. So essentially, in India, we have to whatever you are saying, you have to actually give some connection to the machinery, article, substance, some produce. Okay, substance. So basically, we have to give that connection with some example. If you do not cite some example how this particular invention is going to work and how it is going to connect to some machinery or some produce or something, then there may be a rejection. So, basically in India, we are more industry oriented in terms of when it comes to patenting. They want whatever we do should be connected to some business, and there has to be some production improvement in the production or efficiency increase or new production and things like that. So the whole idea is basically through patenting, we want to capture the intellectual property in the right format and give the person who has created this right for some years. Okay, and after that, since it is a properly document and they ensure that whatever disclosure we are having, it is reproducible. That is the one criteria. So it simply means if I get your document, I should be create your solution without your help. Okay, so that's what it means. So it simply says like once this patent protection date is over, then it will become a public property and anyone want to use that particular knowledge can use it for their benefit. Okay, so the idea is as a whole people and the country will grow over time. Hello, someone said something.
Oh, please go ahead.
For India, I think there's a question. One second, there is a question. Okay. Please discuss how many patents you applied were not successful and what was the reason for rejection. Did you file again and succeeded? No. So essentially, I have filed about 24. Out of 24, that is not actually counted, which is rejected. So it was, you can say 26. So and then I could not produce sufficient result for the final filing, so that got rejected. One patent we were actually filing, but and we did ourselves good prior search, but it so happened like 3-4 years before someone has filed from Europe. Very close idea. I mean, you can look at our diagram and their diagram, they were exactly matching, and the application and the result, everything was very close. So we could not differentiate. It was so close that we thought like differentiating will become very limiting. So then we dropped that particular patent. So you can say we got one rejection, but most of them actually they passed, and majority of them, I think more than 12 are now granted. And okay, so that's first. How much is the fee to apply for patent? I think a patent office, they give fees, a structure, and their component and how they are distributed, things like that. You can take like about a lakh rupees, about 70 to 80 lakh thousand roughly, and once they have some query, then in order to process those queries, again they take some fee. So you can say about a lakh rupees it takes to file a patent in India. Make sure you are on mute. Okay, that's fine. That's it. I think my question. Okay. So now coming to the flip side. So this is a little important in the sense what is not patentable, basically what we cannot patent. So again, just reiterating the same thing. These contents are taken from our website, Indian patent website. So what we cannot patent. So it's a long thing, but I'll just go through the bold one because they are more related to our this. The mere discovery or the formulation of an abstract theory. So scientific principles, basically they are basically laws of nature, and they cannot be patented. And abstract theories, they cannot be patented. Then mathematical or business methods, computer program per se or algorithms, they cannot be patented. So we have seen they can be copyrighted actually. A mere scheme, rule, method of performing a mental act or playing a game, these things cannot be patented. Presentation of information, in whatever form. If it's just an information you are presenting into some other form, this particular thing cannot be cannot be patented. Invention related to atomic energy. This is more important. So basically, then it is something else. Like, you know, the atomic energy thing is not something normal. So they do not, our patent office do not give any patent of any aspect of atomic energy. Okay, so that is excluded from patenting. I'll just go to next slide. If you have question, you can ask. So now I'm coming to last part of my discussion, basically talking about the patent document, how it looks like and what are the elements. So my plan was to give you some overview of these elements and show you one or two actual documents so that you can relate to your problem and plan accordingly. So these are the elements of the document. First, we have to provide who are the inventors of this particular invention. Then title of the invention, field of invention, background of the invention, summary of the invention. Then we have to provide drawings. So drawings are basically a way to communicate your ideas. So if it is abstract ideas where you cannot put actual drawings, then you have to go through, you have to use some block diagrams and things like that. So remember, we can patent system and method. So doing something and some methodology that we can patent, and some system which is working, both the things can be patented. So we have to describe your methodology using some block diagram. Then we have to give the detailed description of the drawing. So detailed descriptions are nothing but it is actually describing your invention in great detail, in the sense that someone who is reading that particular document without your help can regenerate it. Okay. And the last thing is the claim. So claim is the crux, right? Through the claims is something that protects your invention. So description actually it becomes claim in some form. So through claim we protect description and thereby we protect our invention. And there is a limit on number of claims. Okay, and if you have more number of claims, you have to pay extra. So that's how it is. So I'll just go to some document, some patent document. So you may remember brother has introduced with my work on thermal management of data center. So this is one patent that we have filed. That is, you can look at this. So first thing is the title of the invention, the system and method for thermofluid management of conditioned space. Let me do one thing. Before I go ahead, is there any question or what is the time things? How much time we have? So then that will be good for me. No, we cannot. Once the data is, we cannot. Can we have your introduction and currently what you are doing? We can do. You can just connect me through Teams or something. Okay. So Nasir Mullah. Yes, brother. So we can connect. You can note down my, or you can search for me, my name. You will find it. You can note down my email ID is Dilshad.ahmad in TCS. We can connect. Can we deploy our, no. Once the expiry, the patent has expired, no chance. So basically once it expires, it means it has become now public property. How long does it take until patent is granted? So I think it is about 10 years. Yes, I think 8 or 10 years. I don't exactly remember. About 8 or 10 years. So idea is like this. You provide this, then they will have a search. and once they find something similar, they will have objections. Okay, and then you have to protect your patent through answering their objections. Okay, so that is one part. And then once the objections are over, then it will be published. So published means then website. If you go to our Indian patent website, you will see a lot of patents published almost every month, yes, on a monthly basis. So they get published. Essentially, it means whatever people have written in their document, you can just go to those documents, read them, understand them. And the idea here is, um, so the idea here is, if someone is having same idea and he is already practicing it in some form, in some written form, then he can have objections. So he can go and have objections, and then it will be having basically there goes a trial. So I think I remember one patent we had related to water purification, and then HUL has got this objections, and then we had litigation, and then we actually lost. Because not lost actually, then we didn't fight actually, because by the time whatever we patented, we thought that it's not that important. Even if they are having objection, we let it go, so that we left. So that we didn't fight for that. And then I think it was there in news. People find that it's a very interesting news, so they published it. Have especially if it is having strong business case, then other people they do not digest, because you are going to eat their market, so they will have objections, and then will draw into litigations and things like that. Can we claim royalty after expiry? No. Once it is expired, it's a public property, you cannot. So what you have to do, you have to pay extra fees to protect it more. I think there is a, you can extend it to some 24 years or so, something like that. But after that, anyways, you have to leave it. Best and economical attorneys, try to search in your area, because then communication becomes easier. There is no criteria, like you just discuss with them, and basically you bargain with them. Okay. But one more thing that is important. Generally, these are basically intellectual properties, so there may be theft also, so be careful. So whenever you are talking to someone, be careful. That's it. My question is on trademark. If department has already allocated trademark on generic name, if we apply for similar name with some changes, we'll be able to get in. So basically, then keyword is your change. How is, and I think I'm not expert into that. I think there is some criteria how they qualify changes. So I think if the change is qualifying, then you can use it. That should not be a problem. Okay. Is there any question?
Can you elaborate on the point where you said that an idea cannot be patented in India?
So let me go to that. So mere idea cannot be patented in India. That's what it says. So then what you have to do is, so I said, like, for India, if you want to patent something, this is the key. You can say these are the three, you can say, stages you have to cross: novelty or uniqueness, non-obviousness, and industrial application. These three you have to prove. So if you can prove in some way and they accept it, you can patent. That's how it is. But if you do not have this uniqueness, it's non-obviousness thing, then you cannot. And how it is judged, the definition is given. What is the meaning of obviousness and what is the meaning of. So although it is written that way, it is again there is a thin line. Okay. So that's where people from those background, like those attorneys, they understand the legal language and things. They actually rephrase your wordings and then make pass through that process. So that's how their contribution is. Okay. So many times if we write, maybe it will not pass, but once they write, it will pass. One more is like, I think there are in the beginning, small changes can be put that also. So the answer here is, whenever we have some idea and we want to patent or something, some working solution we want to patent. So we do something, we do some that for a specific problem or a set of problem, not for each and everything under the sun, right? Or that particular class of the problem. We do for some set of the problem. Okay. So then how to manage that part? So there again, the role of the attorney comes. What they do, they take your description and then they change the wording such that it becomes general. Okay, general in the sense, uh, so they will put some example, like for example you are having using some model for something. Okay, so then they will say this model may be mathematical model, it may be some physics based model, some database model, or some pattern matching model, and this model, that model. So then what happens, like although you have used some mathematical model, but since they have given so many examples, tomorrow you can go for database model, some machine learning model. So then that's how they expand the scope. Okay, so this is very good idea. Whenever you file patent, try to expand the scope to some extent so that tomorrow if you want to play around, you have some ground to play. And that is the job of the patent attorney. They help in making things little broader. Okay. So you solve things for, you have solution for one problem statement, but they will make it broader so that your application becomes, your solution becomes applicable for a variety of problems. So that's how we do this. And after that, if you think that there is a major change in the invention that we have done, I think there is a provision for patent for addition. So you take that and then put that particular thing along with the previous patent. So that is also possible.
No, I am not very clear on this point, please.
Sorry?
I'm not clear on this. Can you please explain it?
Which one? Can you just find me
the same point which you are discussing now.
Okay. So making this broader, right? So the thing is, I can also go to my example also. So the thing is, you solve one problem, okay, and for to solve that problem, you invent some method, okay, some tool or some idea, okay, and that particular tool method is working, and it is solving that problem. So what you do, you try to broaden that scope. So my solution can solve this problem and allied problem. And from the field, you understand what is the allied thing. Suppose you solve something which is related to a browser, okay, for example, then anything allied to that, you can just put into your scope. So then it becomes broad. So that's what I was trying to say. So let me give one example here. I've given this particular, just this particular invention, system and method for, so remember this particular invention was to do a thermal management, meaning to optimize the cooling of a data center. That was the invention. Okay. But if you look at the language here, it says system and method for thermofluid management of conditioned space. I'm not saying thermal data center here, conditioned space. So it means I have done it for data center. If any other building which is having this similar requirement, it may not be a data center. My solution is still is valid. However, what we have done was for data center only. Okay, that's what I am trying to say here. Does that answer the question?
I suppose so.
You understand, no? You can read this, no? I've just shared it. System and method for thermofluid management of conditioned space. But exactly what the invention was? Invention was to optimum cooling of a data center. That was the invention. But the attorney has reworded these things and put like this: system and method for thermofluid management of. So thermofluid management is basically cooling of conditioned space is data center. So data center is a specific building, but conditioned space can be anything. Can be anything which is conditioned.
Okay. Yes.
So that's how it is. It is little different way of thinking, but these people, they have got those thinking process, so they help us in rewarding things.
Do trademarks also have an expiry?
Which one?
Trademarks, do they also expire,
I
or
think
are they for a
trademark,
lifetime?
I'm not aware, but I think for each protection they give some time for that, for how long it is valid, and then you have to again pay the fee because they have to maintain it, so they ask for fee. I don't think they have a expiry. They don't have expiry. Any other question? Can
Is it
I?
really advisable for going in for patents? Is it
Sorry?
advisable if you have a unique product? Is it advisable for going in for patenting it, or you can just
So this
market
is
it
a
without patenting
very
it?
good question. Very good question. So many times there is something called trade secret. So if you have some idea or some technique that is working and you are in business, okay. So one thing is to protect so that no one can copy. But at the same time, it is also a thought process that we should not disclose it so that people will never be understanding what we are doing. Okay. So two things are there. So the thing is, we have to take a decision. Decision is like this: if we are sure that someone in similar situation can think in a similar way and find the same solution, it's better to protect. And if and there is a threat also. If you protect something through patent, then it will go into public and people can try to copy it and all. So that is another direction. But if you think that in the if the person is put in a similar situation, he will never be able to understand what we are doing. He will never be able to think the way we are thinking. Then better not patent it and keep it with you. Grow your business, earn money. That's it. Does that answer your question?
Yes, but there are other licenses wherein we need to disclose our information in any case, even though we are not patenting your product. But
Yes.
there are other government licenses which are mandatory, and wherein we have to disclose what the product is. Then
Correct. Correct. So,
what happens?
in that situation, once you are going to disclose your invention to someone, for example, if you are in, okay, what was the question? Please answer my question, Suleiman. What is the change in the patent office selling your idea to? No, patent officer cannot sell your idea. No, he cannot. It's like this. You are going to a court and judge is taking your information and putting into a newspaper. That is, then it is actually defeating the purpose. These people are for the protection of the idea, not selling the idea. And he may do it. It's not like it's a person. Like person can do anything. So, but it generally doesn't happen. Because you have got a lot of proof. You receive the receipt or filing. You have the document with you. You have date with you. You have attorney with you. A lot of things are there. So they cannot do it. Actually, they cannot do it. It's there in the system. It appears in the system. You can see it. So that cannot be. Okay. So yeah, answering that question. So if you are having you are in an environment like you are in a research lab or in a university or things like that, and you have done very good invention, obviously you cannot put up a industry, a factory and start production. Your field is different, production is different. So you partner with someone, then you disclose the invention to the person, and then he takes that invention and does the production and sort of the business, and obviously he pays you the royalty. So royalty and things, and along with the disclosure, you have to give all the details to him, because that is the kind of a proof that this is your idea, not his idea. But at the same time, if it is not patented, you don't have any right like this is your idea, because there is no one to say that it is your idea. So then patent office is the entity. So you patent it first, then the patent office gives you that guarantee that yes, this belongs to you. and someone is trying to use it, you can always go and sue him. So then this patent office gives you that right. So in case you are having any engagement where you are going to disclose your idea, in that particular case, it is always advised that you patent your idea first and then disclose it.
You mean to say that we patent the product and then we have to apply for the licenses?
Yes, 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 yes. Without patent, you cannot, because in the license you have to disclose all the details. Without disclosing, there is no license, right? So which will cover your scope of invention and things like that. But obviously, you are disclosing to someone, better it's patented before that. Royalty is your agreement between you and the person who is going to use your invention. So it's up to you and the person. Patent office doesn't go into the royalty business. Actually, I'm not expert in that. Hasham Saab, I'm not expert into that. I cannot comment on this. Okay. Whether it is allowed in Islam or not. But this allows business is very difficult to answer. I cannot comment there. So please go and discuss with someone who understands both the things. I understand a little bit of copyright and patent, but maybe my Islam understanding is not that strong. So sorry.
Hi, this is Bakshi. I have a question.
Yes.
Assume someone has been patented one product, it's which is a digital product. I mean to say it's a software product. Okay. In that, if I added some more, somehow I got the source. Okay, I have added the couple of functionalities there. So will it be violating of the patent?
Okay. So basically, it's like this. First of all, if you are using someone else's thing and on top of that you are going to use, so then first thing the person need to allow you that, okay, someone can build their solution on top of my solution. I will not be having any objections. That's first part. So second part is, even if they allow, since it belongs to them, we cannot patent it. What we can patent is what we have done. Okay. So you can discuss all the details, right? Because your function will not be complete without discussing their functionalities. So you discuss each and everything in detail. However, when it comes to saying that I claim these things, so you have to claim only your invention, only your contribution, not theirs. So you have to exclude their functionality and things and put only yours. So that is possible. That is possible.
I mean, is it possible to sue on that guy? Who is adding the additional functionalities on top of my functionalities?
Yes, so basically that's what. So if you copyright your code and everything, remember for every open source code and things, they give some GNU license and things like that. Remember some Berkeley license, some MIT license. I don't know. So many things are there. So essentially, they in their clause they write, can you reuse this? Can you change this? Can you use and build your thing on top of it? Can you use it for your personal benefit, or also you can sell it to someone? So those clause they have written. So if you violate one of any of their clause, they can sue you. So that's how it is. So it depends upon the person who has first built the solution. Based upon his thing, he can decide. Suppose if it is your code and you have put in the license that no one can change the my code and build any solution on top of it without my written permission. And if someone tries, you can always do that.
Okay. What would be the cost for patenting? Do you have any idea of the software for the software?
I think the patent cost doesn't matter, doesn't depend upon the area of the invention. It basically the procedures. So the procedure cost is about, as I said, 70,000 to 80,000. So roughly you can say 1 lakh rupees. because later on also it takes some cost. Like if there's some objection, you have to respond to those objections, and that they also charge for that. So about a 1 lakh rupees you can put. However,
Okay.
the detail of the casting is there in the website. I think they keep on changing, so it's better to refer the website for the cast.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any centers in Bangalore?
Bangalore, we don't have. The patent office is in Chennai. There may be attorneys in Bangalore. I'm not aware, although, but they're always everywhere in our country. Almost every city has 1 or 2 attorneys.
Okay.
Like,
And actually, I missed. I mean, in between your lecture, see, I have an idea. Okay,
okay.
which have. I mean, can we patent our ideas, right?
Just again, please, I think
Sorry,
I'm
sorry, I'm missing you. I mean,
missing
I'm
that.
not able to hear you. Repeat again, could you please?
Yes, I'm just sharing my slide. So any idea, this idea pass these 3 criteria. One criteria is the novelty, uniqueness, which says whatever you are doing, no one has done before. That is first part. And the second is non-obviousness, meaning those who are expert in the field should not be able to generate same result what you are generating. The third one is industrial application. So if your idea qualifies these 3 criteria, then you can patent your idea.
Okay, okay. Thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. So if there are is there any particular no, okay. If someone has been granted a patent in India, I guess it cannot be practiced by anyone else in India. However, can it be practiced by someone in different country? Yes. So yes, this is very good question. I just missed this particular aspect. So what happens? How to go from India to other countries? So there are two ways. You can always file in those countries, okay, directly like we file in our country. Obviously we have to take care of their patent acts and rules, okay, so that we have to take care, and then we can file in other countries also. There is one more thing, patent cooperation treaty, PCT, it is called PCT. So what we do, when we file our patent, after that we can also file into a PCT. So what is the benefit of PCT? It gives you a priority date. So remember, we have seen date is important. So if you file a PCT, then you get the priority date. Now you are free to choose. It gives about 31 months to choose which country in the world you want to patent. So in 31 months from filing your patent in India, you get 31 months through PCT, and you can decide which country I want to patent. So generally it so happens like you think like my invention may be more useful to people in America, people in Japan and things like that. They may not, it may not be that important for the people in Africa and things. So then you can decide I need to protect in America, then file in America. So that's how it is. Frankly speaking, I don't know much about copyright, but I think I've given the basic understanding like what is copyright and what is patent. And literary work and things like that. If it is copyrighted, no one can actually reproduce it in any form. However, for the patent, you have to disclose, and it has a limit, and then it will become public. So that is the fundamental difference between the two. So one thing is what you can be copyrighted, what can be patented. They themselves are different. Okay. So there is a very distinguished criteria between what can be patented, what can be copyrighted. Obviously, what can be copyrighted cannot be patented, and so on and so forth. And then that the other difference, like it become public, the patent become public. So that is another difference. In case of clarity of our question, is there no global body for patents? I think I have given IPO. So that is the global body, but since it is connected to the country's rule, their legal aspect, that's how we do not have any global body for this, because the protection is happening through that particular country, and the country's rule actually define how to protect this. That's why one country may differ in certain rules of the patent than other countries. So that is possible. That's why we don't have. However, we have this PCT. Through PCT, it gives you a date, this priority date it gives, and then you can decide which country, and then you can, as per the rule, you can file there in their country. So is that answers, Saifullah bhai? Your question is answered? Okay, okay, okay. I think it is 12:22. Let me just go through it once, because I've just opened it up and not going is not a good idea. So I was saying, like, you have to describe your idea into block diagrams. These are the diagrams. I quickly go through. So that's how it is. It looks like, since it is computer related, so you give all the cloud and things like that, and then you define all those memory modules, repository. These are requirement for the computer side, but this is not the actual invention. Actual invention is like this. So remember, there is no diagram here. Sorry, there is no physical drawing, because this is a concept and methodology. So we have put only the block diagrams here. So you can understand, like, all the information in a textual format you are writing, and then showing a flow that, okay, from here I will go here, and then I will go there, and so on and so forth. Okay. And then the second diagram is basically a kind of trying to explain one diagram in the figure number 3. Okay. So that's how it is. And then you keep on describing your invention in more and more details. Okay. So finally, this is your drawing. That's how it is. And in the invention draft, you have seen we have title, then you have technical field. So I'll just go through it. The first disclosure in general relate to condition space such as data center, and particularly but not exclusively to system and method for thermofluid management of a condition space. So it gives you an idea, like, what is the field of this particular invention. Then the background is basically you try to explain the what is the problem and what you are trying to give the solution. So that is the background. So basically, then in this particular background, you connect to the industrial application of your invention. So you discuss some problem in the industry, and then say that there is a need for the solution, and my invention actually solves that problem. Then you quickly introduce your drawing, what all is there in the drawings. And then after that, you start with the detailed description. Detailed description is the exact description of what we have done in a great detail. Obviously, to expand the scope, you give a lot of example for each and every possibilities. So that's how you expand the scope. So then it basically takes one diagram and discuss about what is there and how the process is happening and things like that, how it works. And you keep on doing that till you complete your invention. Okay. And once you have done the entire invention, so that is your disclosure document. And then we have when we have claims. So the claim section comes after this, the discussion. After that, you claim, like, what is that you want to say that this is my invention. So you claim into very brief paragraphs that actually covers your invention, and this is something is protected. Okay. So this is what you protect, and based on the number of claims, they charge it. So in India, we have limit of 10 claims. So they have exactly put 10 claims. If you have 11 claims, you have to pay extra. So that's how it is. I think that concludes my discussion on patent and intellectual property.
What is the claim, please?
1 second. Actually, I have showed some other document for the claim. Specs. One second. Application. Sorry, looks like the claims are not there in this document. Um, However, I can open the other one that I wanted to show. This is for some machine cutting tool. Um, and this is the claim for that. So I just wanted to say that that was one abstract idea and then computer related solution, and this was the physical solution that was for mechanical industry, mechanical engineering related stuff. So you can look at this. So it is about some milling tool.
What do you mean by a claim? Like, can you please?
So yeah,
Yeah.
so it's like this. In simple words, the claim is essentially it is summarizing your invention into small paragraphs. Okay, the first paragraph it kind of covers each and everything, the gist of it, and the rest of the paragraph they support by putting more details to it. To each aspect of the invention, you put additional details. So then that set of those information becomes a claim.
So you said we cannot have more than 10 claims. That does that mean if you
Yes.
have a product wherein you're claiming the product for so and so users, so those users cannot be more than 11 or more than 10 or what?
No, it's not that way. Uh, Essentially, each item is covering one aspect of it. One aspect, not one item or one use case, one aspect. Okay. You can always put as many examples. That is, there is no limit. In the first paragraph itself, it's not like your paragraph should be one paragraph only. In the first claim, you can have additional information also. So there is no word limit as such, but these numbers, meaning the aspect of the claim is limited. So you can have only 10 aspect of it for the patent.
All right.
So in that way, I have never felt that the number of claims are going to limit my patent. It doesn't happen. We can always put more information in the first claim, and you can many a times we cover each and everything in the first claim, and then for the remaining claims, we just support the first one by giving more and more examples and making it more broader. That's how we do.
G.
Okay. So any more question you can have, or I think I'm done. Yes, Saifullah bhai, yes.
I think there's one last question,
Okay,
Dilshad bhai, if I can just read it out.
okay, yes.
It is
please.
from Brother Abdul Wahab. He says, from the
I
date of
can
filing,
send.
yeah,
Yes. From the date of filing a patent to get it approved will take a considerable time. So meanwhile, anyone files no. That's what I said. Na date. So anyone files in between, but the day you entered your application in the patent office, that date is counted. Even if it is not granted, even if there are objections from the patent office, but you have secured the date. So whenever someone comes, it will be seen that okay, this person has already applied at that particular date, which is before your application. So the person gets priority on your application, and the later one will be rejected. Your will be accepted. Does that answer, brother Abdul Wahab? Okay, okay. Okay, so if there is not more question, I would like to thank all the audience for your patience and nice questions. Frankly speaking, when you try to present or try to make others to understand, you understand. So it was very good learning experience for me as well.
Thank you, Dilshad bhai. It was really a eye-opening session for many of us. and we learned so many things, and we'll be applying in our fields also, inshallah. And
Yes,
thanks
yes.
for participating.
Please do apply whenever you feel that you have done something good. I would request, please do apply. Try to file a patent. It's not that difficult, frankly speaking. Just one thing to add here. How many people are okay? 16 are there. Just one thing to add here. Over the time since I have drafted so many, frankly speaking, I myself have developed one tool that helps me in drafting a patent. So that is a little funny part of it. And then I was trying to patent that tool itself. But then I dropped that idea, like that will be too much. So essentially, even after this session, if someone has got some question, you want to take any help, I will be glad to help in whatever way I can. Although I'm not from IT background, but yes, being in TCS, I learned so many things from the IT people also. So maybe I will try to help as much as possible. Thank you.
Okay, thanks to all the participants also, and inshallah in future also we'll be conducting similar sessions. So please try to benefit from them. Thanks to all, and we'll close the session now.
Okay, thank you.